Have you ever heard the unbelievable story of the pacifist who became a one-man army? Imagine a man who truly believed that taking a life was the ultimate sin, only to find himself alone in a reign of lead, responsible for the lives of his brothers in arms. This is the story of Alvin York, a man who didn't want to fight, but when the moment came, he fought like no one else in history. October 8th, 1918, the Meuse-Argonne Offensive. The Argonne forest in France is a place of nightmares. It is a cold, foggy morning, and the air is thick with the smell of sulfur, rotting leaves, and the metallic tang of blood. You are pinned down in a narrow, muddy ravine. Above you, on the ridges, are over 30 German machine gun nests. They are spitting death at a rate of 500 rounds per minute. The Spandau guns are rhythmic and merciless. Your unit is being shredded. Out of the 17 men who started the charge, nearly half are dead or wounded in the first few minutes. The ground is a churned mess of clay and flesh. In the middle of this hell stands a tall, red-headed man from the mountains of Tennessee. His name is Alvin York. Just a few short months ago, he was a conscientious objector. He didn't want to be there. He didn't believe in the war. He had even asked for an exemption because his faith told him, "Thou shalt not kill." But now, with his friends dying in the mud around him, something inside him snaps. The peaceful blacksmith is gone. The hunter has arrived. By the time the sun sets, this man will have achieved the impossible. He will personally silence an entire battalion, eliminate over 20 elite German soldiers, and march 132 prisoners back to the Allied lines. This is not a Hollywood movie script. This is the documented history of the greatest one-man army in American history. Before we witness the miracle in the Argonne, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Here at Epic Warriors, we bring history's most legendary fighters back to life with the detail they deserve. You don't want to miss our future deep dives into the world's most incredible battles. Now, let's go back to where it all began, in the quiet hills of Tennessee. To understand the hero, we must understand the man. Alvin York wasn't a career soldier. He wasn't trained in a prestigious military academy. He grew up in Palm Mall, Tennessee, in a tiny two-room log cabin. He was one of 11 children, born into a life of hard labor and grit. His life was defined by two things: the rugged, unforgiving wilderness of the Cumberland Mountains and the Holy Bible. In his youth, York was a wild man. He was a sharpshooter, yes, but he used that skill for trouble. He was known for drinking, gambling, and brawling in the local taverns. He was a man of the earth, rough and untamed. No, everything changed after a close friend was killed in a violent bar fight. That tragedy broke him. Alvin underwent a radical conversion. He joined a strict pacifist church, the Church of Christ in Christian Union. He swore off violence. He swore off alcohol. He became a man of peace. So, when the draft notice arrived in 1917, Alvin was paralyzed. His soul was in a deadlock. The Bible said, "Thou shalt not kill," but his country said, "We need you." He applied for conscientious objector status, but it was denied because his specific church wasn't a recognized pacifist sect. He was forced to join the 82nd Infantry Division. He spent weeks on a mountain back home, praying for an answer, fasting, and seeking God's will. Finally, he found peace. He came to a difficult realization. Sometimes, a man must fight to end fighting. He realized that if a monster is killing the innocent, stopping that monster is an act of mercy. He went to war not with a heart full of hate, but with a heart full of duty. During training at Camp Gordon, his commanders were stunned. This peace-loving man was the best shot they had ever seen. He didn't shoot like a soldier trained on a range. He shot like a mountain hunter who had spent his life saving every penny for a single bullet. He didn't fire until he knew he would hit. He treated the rifle as an extension of his own arm. This specific skill, the patience of a hunter, would soon save his life and the lives of his entire platoon. Now, let's return to the blood-soaked soil of the Argonne. The objective was Hill 223. The Americans needed to capture the Decauville Railroad to cut off the German supply lines. It was a strategic necessity, but it was a suicide mission. The Germans were dug in with high ground advantage and superior numbers. As York's small detachment of 17 men moved through the thick brush, they managed to slip behind the enemy lines. They stumbled upon a German headquarters and captured a large group of Germans who were at breakfast. It seemed like a victory, but the Germans on the ridges above heard the commotion. They turned their Maxim machine guns 180 degrees, aiming back at their own position. They didn't care about their own captured men. They wanted to wipe out the Americans. The first volley was devastating. York's sergeant and other non-commissioned officers were hit instantly. The Americans were trapped in the open with no cover, pinned down by a wall of lead. York was the only corporal left standing. He was alone, exposed just 30 yards from the muzzle flashes of 30 machine guns. This is where the legend of Sergeant York begins. He didn't dive for cover. He didn't scream. He simply laid down in the mud, as calm as if he were back in Tennessee, and began to hunt. Every time a German gunner raised his head to aim, York fired. One shot, one kill. He was using his M1917 Enfield rifle with terrifying accuracy. Between shots, he actually yelled to the Germans, "Come down and surrender. I don't want to kill any more of you." He was pleading with them to stop making him kill them. The Germans were baffled. They couldn't understand how one man could be so accurate amidst such chaos. A German officer, desperate to stop this lone marksman, ordered a bayonet charge. 6 elite soldiers leaped out of their trench and charged York. Alvin was out of rifle ammunition. He didn't have time to reload the bolt-action Enfield. He dropped the rifle and pulled his Colt .45 semi-automatic pistol. In a display of incredible tactical coolness that is still taught in military circles today, he shot the 6th man, the one in the very back, first. Then he shot the 5th, then the 4th. Why did he do this? He knew that if he shot the man in the front, the others would see him fall and drop to the ground or scatter. But by shooting the men from the back to the front, the soldiers in the lead didn't realize their comrades were falling behind them. They kept charging in a straight line, thinking they still had support, until York reached the front of the line and finished the duel. Within seconds, all 6 lay dead in the mud. The German commander on the hill, Lieutenant Paul Vollmer, was watching this through his binoculars. He was convinced he was facing a massive American force. He couldn't see how one man could do this much damage. He blew his whistle and ordered his entire battalion to surrender. Imagine the look on Vollmer's face when he realized that the army that had decimated his position was just one mud-covered, red-headed American corporal. York didn't stop there. He used the German commander as a shield, forcing Vollmer to order other machine gun nests along the way to surrender as well. By the time York reached the American lines, he was leading a massive column of 132 prisoners. When his commanding officer saw the crowd of field gray uniforms approaching, he was shocked. He famously said, "Well, York, I hear you've captured the whole German army." York, ever the humble mountain man, simply replied, "No, sir. I only have 132. Let's look at the sheer weight of these numbers." In a matter of hours, Alvin York fired about 20 rifle rounds and a handful of pistol shots. For this, he was credited with 25 kills, 132 captures, and silencing 35 machine guns. It remains one of the most efficient displays of marksmanship in the history of modern warfare. He was promoted to sergeant and awarded the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, and the French Croix de Guerre. When York returned to the United States in 1919, he was a national superstar. New York City gave him a ticker tape parade that rivaled the end of the war itself. Huge corporations offered him hundreds of thousands of dollars to endorse their products. Hollywood producers begged for the rights to his story. But York stayed true to his character. He refused it all. He famously said, "This uniform is not for sale." He didn't want to profit from the deaths of others, even his enemies. He went back to the quiet hills of Tennessee, back to his farm and his church. He spent the rest of his life and what little money he had building schools and providing education for the children of the mountains who had no other hope. He wanted his legacy to be one of building, not destroying. Alvin York's story is a powerful reminder that the most effective warriors are often those who hate war the most. He didn't fight for glory. He didn't fight for a medal. He fought because he had to protect the men standing next to him. He was a man of God who found himself in the mouth of hell, and he used his unique skills to find a way out. What do you think of Alvin York's turkey hunt tactics? Was it pure, raw skill, or was there something more, a miracle in the mud of the Argonne? His story continues to inspire generations of soldiers to this day. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your take on these historical legends. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and check out our other videos on epic warriors who changed the world. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we explore another hero who looked death in the eye and didn't blink. Until then, stay brave. This is Epic Warriors.